How's your scone? Is it yummy?
Good. More than yummy.
What?
Double yummy.
Yes! Good morning. It is 10 to 6 in the morning. I've had a shower, and what I'm going to do now is see if I can make some scones before the rest of the house wakes up. I feel like I haven't done baking in a while, so with these scones I'm going to do two different variations. I'm going to do plain scones, and then I'm going to do cheese scones. I'm just going to half the batch and do half of each. I'll probably take some of these into work for morning tea this morning, and then the rest we can just have at home, or I can put in the freezer if there's anything left. I'm going to pretty much try and do this in real time with you. I won't make you sit and watch them rise in the oven, but at least this part here, you can see how long it actually takes. I've got all my ingredients, so let's get started. We need 75 grams of butter. I'm not going to weigh this butter, I'm just going to use the guides on the side of the butter. So the butter is 500 grams and then it's broken into 10 pieces, so it's 50 grams each. So I'm just going to do 1.5. Sometimes I don't trust myself. Yeah, that looks about right. So I'm just going to cut this into relatively small pieces and put it into a bowl. Move this out of the way. To this, we're going to add 3 cups of plain flour. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to add 5 teaspoons of baking powder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're just going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. That should do. Now we are going to have to get messy with our hands. So what you want to do is get into the butter and the flour, and you're going to work the butter and the flour through your fingers. What you really want is to create a breadcrumb-like texture. So let's get in there. Take the butter and the flour between your fingers and you just start rubbing. This can take a little while. The weather in Auckland has been back to being really hot. We had it was like almost a week of just constant rain, and it was really difficult to get the kids out of the house. But yesterday it was back to absolutely sweltering. So there's always something, I feel like there's always something to complain about. It's either too hot, too cold, it's raining too much, it's too sunny. I can never be happy. Some of you may have seen I shared some photos of a holiday that I went on just solo with me and my son last year to Bali. If you haven't seen them, pop over to the posts tab, I think it comes under. And I just shared some photos of us going down to a temple in Bali, and it had 1 million stairs going down, and that's always fun going down, but it's the going back up part that can be tricky. But we did manage it. And the view down there was absolutely spectacular. We went on a holiday, just the two of us, so we decided on Bali, which I've actually been to a couple of times in the past. I actually went for my 30th birthday, and I spent a little bit of time there when I was younger as well. So it's somewhere I know I'm relatively familiar with, so I kind of felt comfortable going with just me and my son, but it was definitely an adventure, and something I definitely won't be forgetting. Okay. So you can see there the consistency kind of like breadcrumbs. So that's all done. I'm going to give my hands a quick rinse and then I will be back. Okay, we're going to add our milk. We need 1 to 1.5 cups. So start with 1, see how that goes, and then you can add up to another cup of milk depending on the consistency. So let's get our milk. Where's our cup gone? start with 1 cup. Give that a mix. With scones, this is definitely something you don't want to overmix. As soon as you overmix them, they're going to get tough. You want them to be really nice and light and fluffy. Okay. I'm going to do maybe another 1/4 cup. I think that should do us. And with scones, the reason why they're so easy and they're quick to pull together is because you don't need to knead them at all. You just bring the dough together and then form your shape. So it's really quick and easy. I've made this dough into scrolls. So I've rolled it out flat, put cheese, ham, onion on them, rolled them up and then cut them up like cinnamon rolls. Those work really well as well. So it's just a really good base for lots of different things. Okay, let's see how that is. I'm going to put a little bit of flour out onto the bench. And then I'm just going to turn this out. And again, you don't really want to knead it, you just want to bring the dough together. Just going to put a little bit more flour just to make sure it doesn't stick. Okay. So first of all, because I'm making 2 different kinds of scones, I'm just going to cut it in half. Put one to the side for now. So this one, I'm going to make the cheese scones. So I'm just going to push it out a little bit and then I'm just going to grate cheese directly onto the scone. This is tasty cheese. It is good to use a cheese that's got a bit more flavour to it. Something like a Colby or an Edam is not quite flavoursome enough. So I think a tasty works really well. You could add parmesan. You could put in some parsley. I'm just going to go really simple with a little bit of cheese and maybe some more. I'm also just going to grate a little bit to go on the top. I'm just going to put it over here for now. Okay, so I'm just going to fold this. Fold. Okay, I think that'll be enough. So I'm going to try and make 4 scones. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4. Put them onto our tray. Just going to flatten them out a little bit. They don't have to be any particular shape. Some people will roll out scones and then use a cutter to make perfect circles if you're doing like a really fancy Devonshire tea style morning tea or something like that, but we're going rustic today. Okay. And then you can just add that little bit of cheese on the top. Just like that. All right, and now we're going to do the plain scones. Again, I'm going to cut this. Maybe I'm going to try and do 6 of these plain ones because they're going to go with cream and jam. They'll be quite rich. So let's just do, and let's try and make these a little bit more round. Like that. Make sure there's no cheese attached. One. I actually spoke to an American lady yesterday, and she was saying that she was at the supermarket and she was looking for biscuits, which I believe are very similar to scones, but she said they're not the same. So I'd be interested to know exactly what the difference is between scones and biscuits that they have in America, which they serve, I think, like at breakfast, and they have them with gravy, eggs. Yeah, it'll be interesting to know exactly what the difference is. you can do with the plain ones is you can brush the top with milk, but I can't be bothered. So I'm just going to pop them in the oven like this. The scones are going to go into a 220 degrees Celsius oven for about 10 minutes. So I'm going to pop them in and I'll see you when they're done. The scones are done and my son is also awake, so we've got some cartoons going on in the background. But there they are. I think they look pretty good. I gave them like an extra minute and a half just to get them nice and brown on the top. So that's our cheese ones. And our plain scones as well. So you can see how quickly those were made. So really, I reckon 10 minutes to throw the actual scone together, and then let's say 15 minutes to get them in the oven, out and onto a plate. So half an hour, you could have some nice fresh baking on the table. So I'm going to let these cool down for a little while, and then I'll show you what they look like when they're opened up. See how nice and fluffy they look. Let's cut up one of these scones for my son's breakfast. Let's go for this one. That's a scone inside. I'm just going to do for him butter and some raspberry jam. They're still just a little bit warm, which will be nice. So I'm going to put that on a plate, and then in a little bowl on the side, I've got some rock melon that I have cut up. Might just cut it into slightly smaller pieces. And then some blueberries. And that's his breakfast. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you try these scones, and I will see you in the next video.